Lieutenant Commander Argyle says Mr. Kaczynski's methods are meaningless. A targ is on the bridge, and space and time and thought aren't the separate things they appear to be. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Seventh Rule with Cirroc, Lofton, and Denise Crosby.
Hello, hello.
Hello, everyone.
My name is Ryan T. Husk. Today we're doing a review of Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 1, Episode 5, Where No One Has Gone Before, written by Diane Duane and Michael Reeves. More on him in a moment. Directed by Rob Bowman. This was October 26th, 1987. Where were you? Of course, this entire first season is sponsored by Tim Baum, a.k.a. Grandpa One. Thank you to him. Go team. How you guys doing?
Really
Nice.
good. Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I said go team because I couldn't remember what Tim Baum's favorite team is, but you know he's always freaking out about it. So just go that team. It's
Yay.
Liverpool,
football. I
something
think
like that.
so. Football. Anyway,
Football.
boy, oh boy, this one was, every one of these so far is different than I remember them. And some I barely remember at all. And for me personally, I was like, whoa, I don't remember this episode getting so exciting in the middle. Like, and I loved the music scoring. I was just kind of like, it felt more, I felt more emotionally invested, like, you know, the highs and lows of emotions in this episode. But I don't know, what did you guys think of this one?
Well, you know, before I watched it, I had absolutely no recollection of this episode whatsoever. I when you had mentioned, Eric being part of it, I went, oh, okay, well, that's the one that he's in. But I couldn't remember I remembered what he looked like, but I couldn't remember what he did. So while watching it, I started to piece it together again. I mean, I don't have a lot in this episode. This is where it begins to, you know,
finally got a little bit of time off. You were heavily focused
you
on.
you would think, but I'm still there on that bridge, you know, so I'm still there. But it was, you know, when I was watching it, I really loved the heart that the character of the traveler, you know, brings to this onto this bridge, and his thoughtfulness and his compassion and for humanity, you know, in a really a beautifully deep way. He really he did a beautiful job in it.
Yeah, and by the way, everybody, forgot to mention at the top, the Traveler himself, legendary actor Eric Menyuk, will be joining us in just a few in the second segment here. So stay tuned for that. Can't wait to talk with him. Sorry, Cirroc, what were you going to say?
I was going to say that, I enjoyed this episode. I thought it was fun, interesting. There was a level of curiosity there about what was going on. You know, there was a point there where you're trying to guess in front of the story. At least I was. So I'm thinking, okay, so what's going to happen? Who's the villain? Who's the, you know, what is this about? And it did have several unexpected twists that I couldn't really foresee while I was watching it. So I enjoyed that part of it.
That's true. There was no villain, now that you mention it. There was the antagonist was just that
Kaczynski
was kind of,
I kept, you know, at one point I was going, why is this guy, why isn't he in the, you know, arrested on the ship? Right?
Totally.
I mean, the guy is a total, you know, villain. I mean, he's BS'd his way in, plus his attitude and his arrogance, and he really doesn't know. I mean, he is messed up badly,
and he's a maniac. Like, he looked. I mean, they cast him perfectly. The second you see him, you're like, that dude's insane.
Oh God, you know, just his body language, everything about him. But I mean, logically, I'm thinking, why is this guy walking around? So why is he even allowed to speak? Of course,
they need him.
It's redeemed when the traveler says, "I need you." He goes, "Oh, you need me." You know, it's like Okay,
Yeah.
I guess that satisfies that. But I would have arrested that guy, put him away, and if the traveler needs him at the end to sit there on the console, bring him out.
In
Bring him out
chains.
just for that. Yeah. Because it was like this guy, I don't get that part of the logic.
Yeah, that was, there's sometimes when you just have to suspend certain things. And I had to suspend a few things in order for me to continue on with the storyline. That was one of the biggest ones. Right away I was noticing, like, why doesn't he have a comm badge on? So, he's walking around and he has no insignia on him. So I'm thinking,
no bling.
Yeah, that's like the police officer without a badge. So,
Totally.
I don't really, let me see your credentials, like, who are you? Where you, I don't really know that he has credentials. So that was that was the first thing that caught my eye, was like, where's this dude Starfleet, comm badge?
Right. And this is dictated by Starfleet, that this guy is coming on and to check the warp speed and do
which
tests.
Is also weird.
Which is weird, right? They don't know that this is a big scam, and he's got this alien free. I mean, this alien's been doing it on these other ships. The same thing's been going on.
And
he's
Riker's
been there and fading in and out.
Yeah, and we've got Riker is onto him from the very beginning. Riker knows from the very beginning this guy's full. So how come Starfleet, in their infinite wisdom, isn't keeping an eye on him or saying, or there aren't reports from previous ships? I forgot the Fearless and the Ajax, obviously fearful because they didn't want to say anything. But like, and the first thing when he starts talking all of his talk, thank goodness they said what they did, because I was like, I don't know what this guy's talking about. And they're like, it sounds meaningless. I'm like, thank you. Somebody else notices it. I have no idea what this guy's saying.
Yeah. I mean, it took me I kept thinking of my husband when he sits and the few times he's watched these with me. I look at him and I go, do you understand anything that just happened? He never understands a word of these shows.
I thought you were going to say that he talks in that same, like, where he's like, oh, you got to fix the power converter on your way. And you're like, I don't know.
Are you kidding me? He is like the least likely human being. Even improvising this stuff. Although he's pretty good at parodying it all. But he would watch this show. There's no way he would understand what the hell just happened. I mean, I was having trouble.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's where, when the alien guy comes in, and this is a species that no one has seen before, apparently, I felt that the level of curiosity wasn't high enough. What is the species? What are your gifts or talents, abilities?
Tau Alpha C. That's all we got.
Right.
No idea what that means.
You're gonna sit at this console?
Right.
And start messing with our stuff?
Right. I don't know what your history is, your backstory. Like if you meet a Borg, out of nowhere, it would probably be smart not to just like invite them in. And, you'd be curious to know some backstory. Like, okay, where are you from? What's your goal here? And I felt like that was just really brushed over right away. Like, oh, he's with me. So on to the next.
Yeah.
And the curiosity should have been like, whoa, he's with you. Yeah, but I've never seen this guy before. Like, is he a telepath? Is he, does he have certain, we need some information.
Right.
And there wasn't, the curiosity wasn't high enough for me for something, you haven't seen it before. You'd be curious. And the other side of curiosity that I thought was not played well, was downplayed, was when they were on the edges of the universe and when they were in, places that nobody's ever seen before. Picard kept saying, well, damn it, we don't know who we're going to report to. And, why do a study when, we don't even, who are we going to report it to?
Right.
And my thing is, yeah, that's true. But the ship has the capability to scan surfaces of planets and stuff like that from a distance, from the comfort of your own, So while you're trying to figure out how you're going to get back, I would also be doing scans and connecting as much data as I can of the edges of the universe. Like, wow, nobody's ever seen this. Like, what is this? So that's another level of curiosity that I felt like, where's the excitement about that? You guys are like 10 billion light years away. That should be in itself like, whoa, this is amazing.
We're the first people. We're the first seeing this. Yeah, first experiencing. They would reference it. There were two like very kind of just non-energetic, suggestions of it made. One by Data, one by Kaczynski. This could be a science experiment, and but then moved off. I also, when thinking back, when they first come aboard and they start running these, diagnostic tests or something or whatever they're doing here, the warp tests, and Wesley, is asked to leave, but he's hovering and he's looking and he just jumps in and starts, pressing buttons but they're running like tests. So it's like, I'm not sure you would just touch anything at this point. Even if you see something going on, you could suggest. But I mean, there's no way he's going to start to, even though it ends up once again, Wesley should be running the ship at this point.
This is kind of the running gag too, where they're like, after like the first episode, when I was like, hey, why are they letting it? And now I'm just like, all right, so this is a universe in which they let some 16-year-old boy genius. They're like, whatever. And then I will say, though, the one time I kind of switched on that was when the Traveler told Picard, he's a special kid. You really need to, help without interfering and this and that. So at least that to me explained the change there. It didn't explain beforehand, but it explains to me, okay, that's cool that now Picard is being told like, hey, this is a very special kid and you really need to keep your eye on him and encourage him and allow him to grow. So that worked for me and that was cute. I liked it.
Yeah, I'm glad that they finally, because I mean, clearly we're seeing it as an audience. Mm-hmm. The kid is solving every problem, every engineering skill, I mean, he's fixing everything and, being dismissed left and right by everyone, scolded. I'm the whole
being called the boy.
Get the boy. It's like, okay, we got to do. I'm curious what comes after this. Now, is this a shift now that we're going to see?
This I think they've gone way too hard on the Wesley story, genius, in the beginning of this show. It's not my favorite theme, and I think they're overdoing it. It's fine that it's there, but I just feel like they're just hitting it over the head, over and again. I just got to hear about how smart he is. And you might as well make this the Doogie Howser of Star Trek and just make him like the surgeon. You know what I mean? He's the doctor, he's the engineer, he's the captain, and that bothers me. Another thing that I was like, so wait a minute, these guys are doing a whole pseudoscience, a fake diagnostic on the warp drive, and Wesley knows about it. It's like, how would he know about something that's completely fictitious? That is not based in the legitimate science. So how could you know about it then?
Well, wait a minute. Let's like walk me through this. Like I'm the deli butcher, okay, not. So the premise is that they're going to run some tests on the warp speed. Okay.
Yeah.
So we know Kaczynski's full of, this is not real.
But Kaczynski doesn't know that he's full of shit, which is the crazy part. We all know, but even Deanna Troi says he's very confident. So he's not even trying to swindle them. He's just an idiot.
So he just thinks all of his little analysis and data, even though it's been run through by Riker,
engineers,
the engineer, Argyle, which
Argyle, right?
Nothing so on the nail on the head, but anyway, so Argyle and Riker, this is just not nothing changed, nothing happened. So what are we looking at for, what is the traveler supposed to be doing?
Right.
Like, what is it? So you've got Kaczynski's got
assistant.
the formula, the data. He's in Starfleet.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So who is this guy? What is he bringing to the table? And we don't. This is a surprise to us.
Mm-hmm. Well, they said that is his assistant. So presumably, while this guy's entering in whatever, the assistant is handling the side stuff or checking the data to make sure, or whatever an assistant will be doing at that time.
What is this thing? We've never seen it. You're in Starfleet. Why do you have where'd you get this guy or this
Probably
thing?
Because he's been pre-approved from the previous ships, right? I mean, like if they were probably already told ahead of time that it's this guy and his assistant are coming onto the ship, right?
It had to have been, yeah. Unless he's working for Section 31 and he's got his own like top secret mission that he's on. But yeah, so that's the problem I have. If Kaczynski is doing a fake method that doesn't do anything really, it's not actually improving the warp drive capability.
Right.
Then the alien guy is doing something. Whatever he's doing something that is foreign to the other guy, but it's something foreign to all of us. He's doing something in the computer system, whether he's merging with it in his own entity and the abilities he has, or he's programming something into it. He's doing something.
Right.
My question is, if this alien is doing something so abstract, nobody knows how to do this, which is, exceeds the logic of physics with the speed of warp.
Right.
How could Wesley know about it? How could he understand that level of science?
Because he's a genius that knows everything.
Right.
But yes, exactly.
He was helping him as if he knows the thing too.
You know what's funny about this?
He was correcting it. He was correcting it.
As if he knows the formula that will take you past the speed of warp. So it's like, well, he became Einstein, without knowing the sciences that lead up to it. It just, the guy's an alien from a different time zone, from a place and time that we have no answer.
That we haven't even gotten there yet.
Right. So how do you know his knowledge? That's what I'm saying. How could you understand that knowledge? That's all I'm saying.
Absolutely.
Well, math and science are universal. So if it's going to be mathematic or science related, then theoretically, I don't know, that doesn't bother me so much. You guys are going through what I went through on my first run through, where I was just like, why? Like, even when I was a kid, I think the kid is supposed to appeal to the kids. But when I was a kid, the children characters never appealed to me. I was never like, oh, wow, I want to be the next whatever. I was just like, I don't care about this. I want to see the big people do the big people stuff. But now that that's like 30 years ago that I went through that or whatever. Now I'm like, all right, it actually doesn't bother me as much because I know what to expect. But watching you guys go through what I went through, which is like, how does this kid know everything? And the writers are probably thinking, he just does. But we're like, but I want more.
Tell
than
them
just that.
He's a genius, and that's all the explanation that's needed. Mm-hmm. He's a special genius. Comparing him to Mozart,
and the Traveler, comparing him to Mozart, that was a really good point there.
Well, I would have liked a little backstory in that too. I would have liked some kind of like one of our kind of people helped Mozart become Mozart. Like, so we've always been there for the nurturing of these special lives, whatever they are, right? Whoever they are throughout time. We come there and we're there. So a little backstory on that. The thing is, I'm getting too much story on Wesley's life and his desires and passions in life. I have very little background on Geordi. I have very little background on Worf. I have, I'm getting a little bit of Data. Riker, where are their backstories to give me more insight into their perspective and their life stories and what they've gone through to get to this place? I feel like we've been hitting the same tones and those same points over and over again on the show so far. Like with the gang rape situation with your character, how many times are they going to bring up the gang rape stuff? Like again, I was thinking, like, seriously, like,
Me too.
how does you seeing a kitten turn into the gang rape thing again?
I know. And I was thinking until I remembered the guy that was fighting the flames in the corridor. But everybody's memory or their thought that they projected, whether it was the Targ, the Klingon Targ, that's a warm, loving memory thought. You've got the ballerina, the woman doing pirouettes, beautiful. The guy playing the violin in the playing. I believe it was Mozart they were playing, and Tasha
and Picard had his mom. He was talking. That was a beautiful scene.
Beautiful. That was a beautiful scene. Yeah. Beautiful. He had true emotion there, and you've got Tasha with the rape gangs in this outfit.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to the 70s disco did you notice the scratches across the chest?
Yeah. Yep.
I did.
And that's what she's wearing. She's been an orphan since she was 5.
Yeah. I was like, guys, don't beat that. Yeah, it's borderline sexual harassment from your angle. Literally. From your character's angle, because it's like, wait, you can't keep bringing this one thing up. There has to be more depth, more to the stories.
It's constant sexualization, and ideation of this character. Anytime they can do it.
But I have to say, I enjoyed the episode though. Ultimately, because I did think it brought in, I thought it was paced well. I kind of liked the graphics of I know it was back in the day graphics of the whole warping thing, but that was fun. It was good enough for me. Yeah,
I like the stuff behind me. Yeah. Actually, I was kind of surprised. Yeah. I was like, wow, how did they do that so well in 1987? It was really nice.
Yeah, so the graphics and the warp, seeing the wormholes as they were going by and all the galaxies kind of flashing by. I really enjoyed that. Reminded me of the movie Contact with Jodie Foster when she's going through that porthole. So there were aspects of, and I also want to say that this guy who played Mr. Kaczynski was really good. As far as being being arrogant and overbearing and self-important, I thought he hit those notes as good as you can hit it.
From the second he walked in, he didn't even have to say anything, and you're automatically like, "What's this guy's problem?"
Absolutely, and that's not easy to do. We know as actors, you do a guest part. The cast is solid. You're walking in and you're owning the place. You're playing this kind of arrogant asshole and just walking in like you own the place. And you gotta be able to do that. That's a tough gig.
Mm-hmm. And, I also really liked the music scoring. I don't know if it's the same person for each episode, but I was really impressed, especially when Picard almost steps out of the turbo lift into whatever was going on out there. Yeah. Like the music really grabbed me, and that was the first time I fully noticed it, although it was great throughout. But that's when I really noticed it. Also, real quick, Michael Reeves. I recognize that name. He's a writer. He's done a bunch of stuff. He also, I believe, won some things for doing the Batman animated series that kind of like blew up the world like 20 years ago. If you remember when the Batman animated series, I met the guy through our good buddy, Cirroc, Mark Zicree, who did Far Beyond the Stars. So shout out to Michael Reeves as well there. Yeah. Lots of good stuff.
Another female writer, Diane Duane.
Right.
That's our second one we're seeing now.
Mm-hmm. Maybe even third. There was DC Fontana, who's basically working on all of these. Diane Duane, and there was the lady in Code of Honor, I believe. So I think maybe that's the third one. I don't remember her name though. I don't remember her name
That's
offhand.
right. Right.
Catherine Powers.
Yeah, very
Yeah,
nice.
there we go.
Mm-hmm. Well, tell you what, everybody, we've got to take a quick break right now. We're going to come back in just a second with our friend, Eric Menyuk. Well, he will be our friend after this. And so everybody stick around, and we'll be right back on The Seventh Rule.